and then I will do a review of what we've been doing during COVID. And then President Michelle Raymond will give a little update about what we're doing about senior housing. And then we will pass the gavel to our incoming president, Sarah Lambert. And then we'll be open to any questions from the membership. So we may ask you all to mute during the meeting until we get to the question part.
Okay.
Hey, Dot.
I don't expect that this will take a full hour, but. Okay. So I'm going to stop sharing this little screen that says what time the meeting starts so that I can see all your lovely faces. And then what you might want to do is put it on speaker view, and then you can see our President Michelle speaking, or if you like looking at the Hollywood Squares style, that's fine too.
I kind of like Hollywood Squares myself, but
yeah, I kind of do too. I like seeing everybody's backgrounds and their faces. And
no comment.
yeah, I know we're a long way from Hollywood, Alan.
I know.
On a phone or an iPad, those pictures get really tiny.
Okay, I'm gonna get started with our meeting then. I'm Michelle Raymond, the outgoing president for the board. And ask if you're not speaking right now until we have questions, if you could just go ahead and put it on mute so that we don't get extraneous noises, because it sometimes gets amplified depending upon your computer system. Just welcome you to our annual meeting. For those of you who haven't had a lot of time to go to meetings on Zoom, this may be a new experience for you, but the board's been doing this for several months now, and I think we've almost got the hang of it. I'm going to go ahead and introduce all of the board members that are here that I've seen, and if I miss anybody, please let me know. Alan Gilstrap is here. Cecilia McCorkle, I saw her, there she is. Grizz Gay is around somewhere. I see her name anyway. Jennifer Harrison is here.
Hi.
There's John Moore, I saw you somewhere. There you are, okay. Maureen Cleary, who's one of our new members, welcome. Roberta Epps, I heard you. I haven't seen, there you are. Okay, Sarah Lambert is right there. Did I miss anybody? I know that there's a lot of power outages and some folks may have been unable to get in or get in on their computers. So can't be helped. That's Mother Nature at her best, I guess. So I'm gonna go ahead and open it up to Kira to show our little slideshow.
And I wanted you all to know that this will be recorded, and I'll send out the link to the recording, but I'll also send out a PDF of the PowerPoint that I'll be showing. So everyone will get the information whether they were able to come or not, and can share it with others. Kira, take it away with your.
Okay, yes. So I've got a quick little video talking about our year, what it was like. So we'll go ahead and watch that.
Does it have sound?
Oh. Sorry, I think I'm, give me 1 second. Always learning new things. Here we go. Share computer sound. Okay. So that was kind of a little slideshow of the year 2020. So the good beginning and then the crazy middle end.
Thank you, Kara. That was great. Well, I'm going to give you just a little report of the year in review as well, but I'll give you more of the stats and information, I guess. But welcome, welcome. I'm really glad that you're all here. And as I said before, we're going to record this for those who can't make it due to the power outage. And so this was the video that Kira just showed, and I will send this all to you all so that you can see it. I'll just send it in a PDF, which most people can open, so that should work. But welcome, thank you to our 2020 Board of Directors. We have a few board members who are departing. So we want to say thank you to Michelle Raymond, who has been an amazing president, leading us through some really difficult times, and very much appreciate her. But she is stepping off the board this year, as is Kevin Howgley, who served the maximum 6 years that we allow on the board. And so we greatly appreciate him and the expertise he provided. Carl Kieswetter, we're very sad that he passed away this year. And we will miss him very, very much. And Mari Roberts and YY Tan are both stepping away for various reasons, and we will miss them and the expertise that they brought. However, we do have 2 new wonderful board members. So welcome to Glenda Surdam and to Maureen Cleary. So welcome to you both. So we have a wonderful, wonderful board of directors. Sarah Lambert is our new incoming president. And many of you know Sarah. I'm just going to give a little plug to her. She is a former emergency room nurse who's been very involved in the senior center. She helped teach the enhanced fitness classes. She leads the brain fitness. She's been helping out in the thrift store. Sarah is really going to ably represent the membership for you all. And if you have any questions, she's a great person to ask, and we'll get you her information later on. John Moore is our vice president, so we're thrilled to have John here. Griselda Gay is our secretary, Don Wilhelm, our treasurer, and then we're happy to have Roberta Epps, Dick Kirby, Christine Lemons, Mary Brooks, Alan Gilstrap, Cecilia McCorkle, Rick Carter, Jennifer Harrison, and our 2 new board members. So glad that you all are here. And you know that this senior center doesn't just run on itself. We have the world's most fantastic staff. I really think that we're an amazing team. And if nothing else showed it this year, COVID definitely did. This team of people really came together to help us through all the challenges. We did not have to lay anyone off. We kept everyone employed. But many had to work outside of their usual job descriptions to help us keep going during the pandemic. And one of the primary things was the meals, our hot meal program. We had to suddenly change from serving meals in person here to doing takeout and delivery. And so we also did not want volunteers in here, especially at the beginning of the pandemic. We wanted to keep everyone as safe as possible. And so the staff stepped up and really pitched in. So hopefully you've met many of our staff. Kelly Fujiwara is just an awesome social worker. And if you ever want to talk to somebody or you need some resources, she is your person. Mindy Reball is our admin assistant and bookkeeper. And she's the one who takes care of all of the payments and donations and everything that happens around here. She keeps me organized. And then you all know Kira, of course, our program coordinator who plans all of our wonderful classes. And she's just done an awesome job of getting all of these virtual classes happening. And I guess the buzzword right now is pivot. And so Kira did an amazing job pivoting to make all the changes. Our doors might have been locked, but there was still a lot happening. And a lot of that was due to Kira. Well, Carrie and Lori couldn't bring seniors to the senior center anymore. So they started taking stuff to the seniors. So they've been delivering meals all over the Sno-Valley Valley. Angie Hartung, our thrift store manager, the thrift store was closed throughout most of the pandemic, but Angie became Jennifer's most able assistant, helping out in everything that needed to be done. She's been great. And Jennifer, of course, is a rock star. She's becoming famous all over for the delicious meals that she cooks. So if you haven't had a chance to try our meals, you've got to, because they are some of the best around. Val Stewart is our hub coordinator. And so I'm going to tell you a little bit more about our hub. We have a partnership with the Mount Si and the Issaquah Senior Centers, which Val helps us coordinate this partnership and all the incredible things that are happening. So I always like to put here what happened with the building. And so we painted the main hall. You're not going to get to see it for a while, but it does look brighter and nicer than ever before. We also got a touchless water fountain, so you can refill your water bottles and you don't have to touch a thing. What cost the most money this year, though, was that we had some pipes break underneath the kitchen and create quite a bit of problem. And so insurance did cover most of the cost of that. And so we got that all repaired and replaced the insulation. So what we're planning to do in 2021 right now anyway, is to resurface the entry ramps so that they get, there's some soft spots and we wanted to repair them and make them so that they have better grips too. And we're upgrading our staff computers thanks to an incredible donation from a board member, Simone Opara, who got us all brand new computers through Microsoft. So this is pretty exciting. We also did really well with grant programs. We got some grants to do fitness before the pandemic ever hit. And fortunately, the grant said, yeah, if you're doing virtual fitness classes, we'll help pay your instructors. So that was awesome. And we also partnered with the Northwest Arts Center in Duval to provide some painting classes. And we've got some more planned coming up. So we got a For Culture grant to offer free painting classes. And these are really cool. You pick up the painting kit from the Senior Center, and then the instructor on Zoom takes us all through step by step how to create that painting. So you can see the really cute chickadees that people painted at the last one that we did. But look for some more coming up. And then of course, community dining got grants from many of our local supermarkets, from Safeway, Albertsons, Whole Foods, Fred Meyer. Puget Sound Energy recently gave us $7,000. And then we had a really fun grant to purchase fresh produce from the local farmers. So the farmers got to sell more stuff since they don't have the farmers markets right now. We got to have super fresh, yummy food. And that wonderful grant came from Harvest Against Hunger. So a lot of cool stuff happening there. And our doors might have been locked, but we still had new programs. So before the pandemic hit, we started a new quilt group. And that was going just great guns. In fact, you know, at the beginning of the year, we began so strong and I was so excited. We had so many fun new programs planned for the new year. We planned to increase our open hours, do more partnerships than ever before. But then we had to make that pivot, those changes when the pandemic hit. So Cure was right on top of it and started our virtual Continental Cafe. Val helped us coordinate and begin a pen pal program. So for those who don't want to deal with technology, we had some really fun partnerships with some teenagers and senior citizens writing letters back and forth, and Val Stewart has been coordinating all that. Kelly has been running an aging mastery self-study course, which is really cool. And if you haven't tried it, I highly recommend it. It has some great ways for us to age well, look younger next year by doing these things. And it's a whole little book and you can go through it by yourself. It's meant to be done in a class with a group with special speakers and lots of support back and forth. So we hope to begin that when we can reopen again. But we also began a brand new program with minor home repair, and they're calling this program Home Sweet Home. So we're stuck at home all day, and that means we need our homes nice and safe. And so John Lambert has agreed with some partners to help build ramps, fix sinks that are leaking, doing all kinds of things around the home that people need assistance with. And so all you got to do is contact Kelly, the social worker, and she will line it up with John to help you get the repairs you need to stay safe and healthy in your own home. Now, here's what I was talking about before, our hub partnership. We're called the FESH, and part of that, it stands for Far East Senior Hub. And the reason we called it that is because if people say East Side, you don't think of Carnation, you think Bellevue, Redmond, right? So we're sort of the far east. Keep going east of Bellevue and Redmond. So we partnered with the Mount Si Senior Center and the Issaquah Senior Center. And we got funding through the King County Veterans, Seniors, and Human Services Levy. Now, the really powerful thing about this is that 3 senior centers have a lot more leverage and power than one. Our social workers and coordinators can tell you that sometimes we contact people and say, can you do this or that for us? And they say, oh, you're too far. It's too far to come. Well, now we have 3 senior centers saying, will you come do that? And the chances of them saying yes are much higher. And we've been able to get a lot more leverage to get home care services, mental health services, and a lot more support to reach some of the more unreached populations here in the senior center. For example, the LGBTQ community. Many seniors, Gen Pride is working with the Generations Aging with Pride for the LGBTQ, who often have a less support system and need more support even now during the pandemic. And also Gen Pride can provide some great resources and fun programming. Chai and Conversations with the India Association of Western Washington that we've been able to partner with due to the FESH. And so we're able to reach people that have come here from India, which is a really, really cool thing. We've also partnered with CMAR to provide Spanish-speaking people to do programming here at the Senior Center so that we can reach out to the large Latino population here. And then kinship, if you don't know, kinship is being provided through Encompass. And so that's where grandparents are raising grandkids or other relatives raising kids. And so they're providing support groups, and we had lots of really cool stuff planned for this year, which I hope we can do this next year, where we can provide a lot of support to these grandparents. And then WATAP stands for Washington Assistive Technology Act Program. And what assistive technology is any item or piece of equipment that is used to maintain or improve functional capabilities. So they've done some really cool things about gardening. Gosh, I might have to ask Val, what else? They have done some wonderful workshops and projects for us, and we're looking forward to seeing them in live with all the wonderful ideas and items that they have. This is a really fun project here, Make New Friends Across the Miles. This is where we've partnered, you know, with the internet, you can go anywhere in the world. So we've partnered with the Senior Center from Texas and have had some wonderful conversations and gave them a tour of the Space Needle, and they're giving us tours and telling us about Texas. It's really a fun, fun partnership. So I am super excited about the FESH and about our hub partners, Mount Si and Issaquah, and how we can increase what's being offered and make even more and more partnerships and more exciting things happen. I'm really looking forward to the new year and doing more and more. So our core programs continued. As I said before, we went to takeout meals and delivery of meals. Bastyr has continued to provide services over the phone, and now they're doing one-on-one here in person at the Senior Center, Bastyr Naturopathic Clinic. Brain Fitness continued thanks to Sarah Lambert, and they're meeting and doing some really great puzzles and having a fun time online. And the book club has also pivoted now to be online on Zoom. So our core things are still happened, even though the doors might be locked and we're not open. We still have a lot going on. Oh, that was where I was supposed to turn it over to Kira. So Kira, was there anything more you wanted to say about our core programs or about trips that we did last year and what's planned for the future?
Not so much about the core programs, but yeah, so in 2020, we were able to go on 4 trips before we closed. So we got to see the Little Women movie at the theater before I think they actually ended up tearing that theater down to put in the Costco, some sort of Costco building. We went to the Burke Museum, which is a super fun museum, and it has great things to see, and they've like recently redone it all. So it was really fun to see it after it had reopened. We got to take a tour of the Starbucks roastery. So we got to try like 6 different types of Starbucks coffee and see like their huge roasting machines and they had like a bar in that roastery. So it was fun to see all that stuff. And then for that trip, I think we ate lunch at the Cheesecake Factory too, right down in Seattle. And then we went to the Northwest Flower and Garden Show right at the end of February. And so it was really fun. I mean, looking at these pictures, I think we had a full van for almost all of those trips. So that was really fun. I can't wait till we can do that again. So yeah, and hopefully in 2021, we can do I'm hoping to add more classes, virtual classes on. I know that the Seattle Chocolates is doing virtual chocolate tastings where like you get a box mailed to you of chocolates and you get on Zoom to be led through a tasting. And we're doing a wine tasting in about 10 days with Arenda Winery. So trying to add more things to the calendar that are more like kind of going out and experiencing something, since we don't know kind of what the calendar is going to look like. So, yeah.
Exactly. We don't know what the year holds, but as things open up more and more, we will be sure to keep you informed. So, most of our fundraisers had to be canceled this year. We had one before the pandemic, and that was the Hogwarts Express Rainbow Bingo. But the others we had to change to more virtual or drive up. However, our drive-up spaghetti dinner on July 3rd and the strawberry shortcake on July 4th were both very successful, and we had awesome volunteers help us do that. And we even had a drive-up plant sale where people could pre-order hanging baskets or get bouquets of flowers. So that was fun. The biggest event was our virtual gala and auction, which had the 1920s theme. And if we have time at the end of this meeting, Kira can show us the really fun video she made about some of our members who were born in the 1920s. So we had an auction that was online and that you could bid right during the event, and lots of cool stuff happening. So some fundraisers still were able to happen, but we were also able to involve the community. The holiday lunches meals were sponsored by the community, in particular Ralph Westerman and Eric Tullis, and then all the board members, and they all came together so that we could ensure that all the seniors got a nice holiday meal. We also had a rummage sale for reincarnation. The store wasn't open, but hey, we could do an outdoor event. And then we couldn't do Rainbow Bingo, but we could have virtual trivia with Silvio Stay for More. And another virtual trivia is coming up in February. So that's actually really fun. And there is no charge for that, but we asked for donations. And then the Veterans Day, the Rotary Club has always done a veterans breakfast. So this year they sponsored a lunch and they packed the meals and they served them to everybody. So it was really fun to have the Rotary Club involved. And then finally, this is something you might not have noticed, but we put in a peace pole. Rotary put in a peace pole. And the peace pole says, "Let there be peace on earth." And it's written in, "May peace prevail on earth." And it's written in English on one side, in Norwegian on the other side. That's in honor of Dick Kirby. And on another side, it's in Spanish, in honor of the Latino members we are going to enjoy visiting with here. And then on the final side, it's in Mandarin Chinese. So 4 sides, we put up a peace pole, and that's on the front door on Stevens Avenue. So it's really cool how the community remained involved and supported us. But really we succeed because of our volunteers. And although we didn't have most of our volunteers coming in after the pandemic started, eventually we have had to call back a few to help with meals or with the thrift store and taking in donations, or to help with cooking the spaghetti dinners and the strawberry shortcake, or to help with the thrift store rummage sale. So we are so dependent on volunteers, and oh gosh, do we ever miss you guys. And you know, our sponsors were also key, and we had more sponsors this year than usual, and we are so grateful for the local businesses that support us. And I'm particularly grateful to our most generous donors, and that is Sprudy Law Office out of Duval, and they do legacy planning, elder law. And Issaquah Cedar and Lumber was also a big sponsor, as was the Lynna Ruth Waldner team, and they're with Remax Realty. So deeply appreciative to them and all of the others that are mentioned here. I just wanted to point out though that individuals, not just companies, are sponsors. Scott Massey sponsored the plant sale. The Qual, Kirby, and Benjamin families sponsored a rainbow bingo. And Carol Couts also has been a sponsor for us. So anybody can be a sponsor. And sponsorships range from $100 up to $2,000 is what the Sprudy Law gave us. So sponsorship is a wonderful way to underwrite the cost of an event so that all the proceeds from the event can go directly to programming at the Senior Center. So what were our accomplishments in this very strange year? So we delivered almost 2,000 frozen meals on wheels to local seniors who are homebound. And we served over 12,000 meals for pickup and delivery, which is a 40% increase over the number of meals we served in 2019. It's, in fact, we were talking today that tomorrow's birthday lunch has a little under 100, and we're like, oh, that's nothing. Well, it used to be a really huge meal for us, but we've done some really big meals lately. And so it's become more standard to serve around 60 to 70 meals each day. We received 210% more in donations than the previous year. That is where our community has really stepped up to help us, and we would not have made it without them, because we were not able to get most of our usual funding in. And we received over 111,000 in grants. That's 3 times more than the previous year. So some really awesome, wonderful things happened in 2020, and our community made that happen. So as we look at our budget, I want you to know that I have not yet seen the full December budget. So I don't have the year-end budget yet, but we will put that in our annual report, which will go out in the newsletter, the March newsletter. That's called the Gratitude Report. So I want you to know that I don't have final numbers for 2020 yet. But in general, this is what I know. So the bad news is the thrift store was not open from March to November. We didn't have any facility rentals. We had no program revenue because we weren't offering any programs here. And most of our fundraisers were canceled. There was no pie option, there was no bingo. all of that was canceled. But the really, really good news is that individual donations were up thanks to our community and to you. The increased number of grants we've already mentioned. The King County levy funds were unaffected. And we did get a payroll protection loan to be able to keep our staff all employed so that no one was laid off. And that loan will be forgiven. And then we also got some CARES Act money from King County and from Duval and Carnation. And that all helped with the increased cost for the meal program. So what I mean by that is it cost a lot to change to takeout meals because all those takeout containers cost a lot. There's all different sizes of containers for all the different things. The bags that they come in had to be new bags so that they weren't contaminated. And then there was, of course, all of the gloves, masks, and all the other things that were needed. So we got monies to help cover all those increased costs that helped a lot through the CARES Act from the federal government. Expenses, our staffing levels stayed the same. The thrift store manager, Angie, she changed to assisting in the kitchen, which didn't have any volunteers until the last few months here. The meal program expenses increased with the need for the to-go boxes and the additional gloves and masks. But, most of our expenses remained unchanged. And that's because, our utilities stay the same. Everything it takes to just run this building all stayed the same. So as worried as I was in March when we were forced to close, thanks to our community, we're going to finish the year with an excess. Now, I'm not going to say how much the excess is yet because I haven't seen the financials, but I know that we will finish in the black and very well. And it's because of all the wonderful support that we've gotten from our community. It's just been phenomenal. So to look forward to in 2021 is gradually reopening. I hope that right now we're doing some one-on-one appointments. We have reflexology, vascular, financial counseling, legal counseling. So I hope that in the future, maybe this summer, I hope we can start with some small groups and then come back to nearly normal or what was normal before the pandemic. So I'm looking forward to vaccines becoming available. I have requested to be a vaccination site, but I don't know. They may or may not, provide some people to come to the center, but I think we're very centrally located to get vaccinations out to the Sno-Valley Valley. But don't count on it. No promises. Don't know. I just offered, and people are saying, yeah, that's a good idea. Senior centers would be a good place. So we'll see what happens. I'm really looking forward to increasing our programming and outreach to those who haven't yet enjoyed our lovely senior center. And we're starting to get some of the senior housing underway with very tiny first steps that Michelle is going to tell you about. And also we have some funding to start when we reopen to do some evening programming so we can expand our hours and all the programming that we're doing. So more and more will be happening. And I just can't wait for this to be just a buzzing, busy place again. We have more resources and more partnerships available than ever before due to our FESH partnerships, our hub partners. So that's a lot of exciting stuff to look forward to in 2021. And I can't wait to see you all, I hope, again soon. So we will have some, Michelle is going to give a little update about what we're working on with senior housing. And then I'm going to, then the virtual gavel will be passed from Michelle to Sarah. And then she and Michelle can take your questions about what your priorities and questions are for the board of directors. But here's Sarah's contact information. So you can definitely email her or call her and leave a message here at the Senior Center. So I'm going to stop that share temporarily and I'll put up the screen with Sarah's contact info at the end again. And so I'm going to turn this over to Michelle. And then in a little bit, we'll open it up for your questions and things.
Hey, thanks, Lisa. Thanks to the staff and all the volunteers who have done a wonderful job of keeping the senior center a really vital part of our community, even with all of the COVID restrictions that we've had. Just a little history on senior housing. If you remember way back in 2019, that seems like eons ago, but in 2019 we had to, or maybe it was even early 2020, it was 2019, we had to close down the old house where the reincarnation was because of structural problems. It was not structurally sound, and we were afraid that it would be unsafe for volunteers or shoppers to come in. We moved reincarnation to a couple of rooms in the senior center while we tried to figure out what we wanted to do. Last year's annual meeting, we talked about all the various options and had kind of a vote from the membership and at the meeting, and then there was opportunity for folks to weigh in their votes after the meeting. And as a result, 70% of the membership said, we want to keep reincarnation, but we also want to look at senior housing, low income, affordable senior housing in the Valley. It's a need that's not there. We're seeing a lot of our seniors being priced out and having to move away, and finding some ways to keep our seniors in the community where they've lived, where all their support systems are, was really important to the membership. So we had a few hiccups in getting a retreat for the board to talk about that and figure out what our next steps were. I think February we were flooded out, March we were COVIDed out, and then it took us a few months to figure out how we could do the technology so that we could get everybody in and do voting and sharing and all of those things for the retreat. We finally held our retreat in September, and the board went ahead and decided that we would look at senior housing. We would look at some options for reincarnation. The house will have to go. It will have to be taken down, and we're looking at some options for that. So our next steps, we have a small group considered of myself, Sarah Lambert, John Moore, Jennifer Harrison starting this year to join our group, and Lisa Yeager. And we met with several different consultants. We met with the director for the North Bend Senior Center because they've gotten involved in senior housing. We met with some contractors to figure out, who could do a feasibility study and what would that entail. We're at the point now where we've got 3 companies that have given us proposals. We'll be looking at those proposals closely and making a decision in the next month about which company we want to go to do a feasibility study. And the feasibility study will look at, what size of senior housing, how many units do we want to have, what's the zoning, what would be the permitting, looking at potential costs, and all of the things that would go into a large project like this. This is probably going to be total cost at the end somewhere in the $2 to $3 million range, but we're also looking at funding, both state and federal funding, to offset much of those costs, and then figuring out, what sort of what kind of capital campaign, or what do we need to do for the rest of the costs. What we're looking at are 12 to 15 units, probably 1-bedroom units. And again, we're talking about affordable low-income senior housing. So, looking at those folks that are 30 to 50% of the mid income range to be able to be there. Once we figure out our company to do our feasibility study, they will actually look at the study. They will talk with the city, they will talk with the county, they will talk with the state. They will figure out, where we need to go, what our next steps are for doing this kind of a project. Hopefully, this is going to be a long-term project. This is not something that, we won't be reporting out next year that we have 15 units ready to open. but certainly we're going to be heading in that direction. We're also looking at incorporating new space for reincarnation somewhere on the whole campus that we have, between the house, the parking lot, the senior center, making sure that we have space for reincarnation, and then opening up that space that reincarnation is currently using for programming once the senior center is up and running. So that's where we are with this. It's kind of exciting. It doesn't feel like, it seems like little steps, but it's actually big steps, because we actually have a direction to go, and we're going to have somebody that can help walk us through that direction and, and move forward. We already know that we have the backing of the city. The city council is very much interested in having senior housing. We have the backing of Kathy Lambert in King County. So, she's going to be, somebody in our corner who can help us potentially with funding, but certainly, getting the support that we need for doing the senior housing. So that's where we're at. I know that although I'm leaving the board, at least for right now, I'll be staying with the committee to continue to look at the senior housing, and I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be a real benefit. For those who don't know, they're in the Sno-Valley. There is no affordable senior housing between North Bend and Monroe, none. So this is going to be a real benefit. It's 12 to 15 units. It's not huge. We looked at some companies who didn't even want to talk to us unless we wanted 70 units, and we figured 70 was not quite in scale with the city of Carnation, but we do have some companies that are excited and interested in working with us. So anybody on the committee? Yeah.
I think that's a good wrap up, and time to move on, because that's a lot of information.
I know. Okay, thanks, Sarah.
We have a few more things to do, so let's get moving.
All right, and I officially hand my gavel to Sarah.
Thank you. All right, I'm Sarah Lambert. I am now officially the president of the Sno-Valley Senior Center Board, and I'm very excited to do that. I wish we could be in person so that I could hang out and talk to people about what they need and think and want. We can't do that right now. So Lisa will give you my contact information again. If you email me, I will send you my cell phone number. You can call me anytime. I don't answer the phone at 3 a.m., but you can always leave a message for me and I'll get back to you. Coverage is kind of iffy sometimes, so you may need to leave a message, but I'm happy to call anybody back. So thank you. And it's time for questions. So we've talked about a lot of stuff this afternoon, new things, old things. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. You can unmute yourself and ask a question if you'd like.
I have a question.
Sure. Hi, Maureen.
Hi. Say, it's not a question. I just want to acknowledge Lisa, because I think she's the prime mover behind getting all the funding and the grants.
Yes,
and organizing all the finances. So it's been very successful. And I just want to acknowledge Lisa for all her work.
Thank you. Absolutely. And I also happen to know that fundraising is not her exactly favorite thing to do, but she's just really good at it. So
she's very good at it.
Grateful to have her doing that for us right now. Yeah, feel free to make comments if you don't have a question. We'll take a few more minutes to do that. We've got about 10 minutes left.
Could we get an update on the computer distribution? I thought there was a plan to provide laptops to seniors.
You know what? The funding for that has not come through yet. So
Okay.
I had some verbal promises that I took more literally maybe than I should have, but I haven't seen the money in hand yet. However, Kira and Val are both working hard on that. And we're aware of some companies that provide one-on-one tech support to seniors that we could provide a contract with so that people can get the help they need. And we're looking at how to get some tablets or laptops, some things, get out more computers to people.
Great, thank you, Lisa.
Yeah, I'm hoping that will happen soon. So there's funding starting to come available for that. So I'm focusing on that. And Kira and Val are also helping me help make that happen.
Great.
I have a request to make. This is Cecilia. The plant sale committee has decided that we're going to try to have a plant sale. It won't look like the plant sale of 2019 and it won't look like the plant sale of 2020, but whatever we do will require volunteers. And since that's my job to try to get volunteers and coordinate them, I just would like to put out to all of you that are here today, if you would like to volunteer a few hours of your time, you can get in touch with the senior center. I'm not sure who there exactly, but we'll figure that out. And if you know anyone else who might want to volunteer that maybe isn't involved in the senior center directly, or a group of young people, maybe you have some family members or neighbors, we will be looking for people who are willing to actually be part of the plant sale. So hopefully I'll see some of you then.
Yeah, people can definitely let me know, and I'll let Cecilia know. The plant sale, just so you know, is going to be April 30th and May 1st. So it's always the first Saturday of May, which happened to kind of go into April this time. And we're going to have a first picks party. So we figure we should be safe to be outside and do it all outdoors. And we're looking forward to that. Thanks, Cecilia. Any other?
And Lisa, for that update. Any other comments or questions? Feel free. I am comfortable with a little bit of quiet while you're thinking, so we won't cut you off too soon. We'd like to jump in.
I also want to say that Michelle has been extraordinarily, done a great job as president. It was a hard year to be president, and she's been very accessible to membership too. She was really involved in the Enhanced Fitness program and Bridge Club, but she also just had an ear all the time to what the members wanted. And she, before the pandemic hit, was at the senior center a lot. And Sarah is too. So I want you to know that we have, executive board members who are here and accessible and available. And when we reopen, there are people who you're going to see here, including John Moore, our vice president, often came to the senior center. And, so we're looking forward to seeing you again. But, I got sidetracked. What I'm trying to say is I'd really like a round of applause for Michelle Raymond for the awesome job she did carrying us through a pandemic. Woo, Michelle. Thank you. Any other questions or thoughts?
I'd like to say that I appreciate so much all that you at the Senior Center have done. It's just amazing what you've done during this opportunity. I also got a comment and hope that we go further on this senior housing, since a number of years back when I was on the board, there was so much talk about it and we didn't ever really get there. So I wish us a lot of luck for getting that in the future. So again, thank you so much, Lisa and Kira and all of you, Jennifer, all of you people at the Senior Center that have done so much during this epidemic.
Thank you, Dot. That was great comment. Okay, there I am. Contact me. Leave me a message. Happy to hear from you. And thank you for coming.
Yes, thank you. Would you like to see the little, since we've got 5 minutes left, Kira, do you want to show the 1920s video? Just because it's fun, not that it has anything to do with anything.
Yeah, I can go ahead and do that. Let's see.
And I really appreciate you all coming and that you're part of this amazing senior center. We have a great reputation in the community, and that is because we are really friendly senior center, a group of people that really cares. So thank you. Very nice. Thank you, Kara.
Great.
So thank you all for coming. I will email all of you a link to the PowerPoint that was shared and also to the video recording of this in case you're just dying to see us all over again. So thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.